stood as its champions.
And that's it. It's over. This historic 2020 NBA championship belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Lifting the franchise's historic 17th banner, LeBron had his 4th ring and an official seat at the GOAT discussion table. And for the league to get to the finish line and crown a 2019-20 champion, where so much off the court is on, it's a moment due its own celebration and appreciation.
Who would have benefited the most if Kobe and LeBron played together?
LeBron James. He'd have benefited the most. I don't think there's any question about that. When you look at LeBron James and his greatness as a player, think about the adversity that he went through to get here. But also think about the fact that for years, he didn't really have anybody staring him in the face that was the living embodiment of accountability. Somebody that would be in his face challenging him to do what the hell he was supposed to do. Max Kellerman, and if y'all could get that footage for me that I asked for from y'all this morning. Max, I want you to look at this. This is I think it's the 2012 All-Star game. LeBron has the ball, all right? He has the ball. Kobe is D'ing him up face to face right there. It's him and Kobe. And he tries to throw a court pass, and Melo, D-Wade, and Kobe are all getting on LeBron. Why? Because, and even Darren Williams, of all people.
It's the All-Star game, brother. People want to see this.
It's the All-Star game, and what they were doing is, you remember, LeBron James had yet to capture a championship. And what was the knock against him? What are you doing? Take it. It's yours. This is your time. What the hell are you doing? I picked that moment and asked them to show that video because it crystallizes my point for this particular argument. Those years where LeBron James was maturing but couldn't get himself over the hump, was devoid of the killer mentality, was susceptible to what people said and what they felt, how he has openly acknowledged how it inhibited him for years. That's why he calls losing in the finals to the Dallas Mavericks his greatest achievement, because with his show The Shop, which I said was a very good show, he's doing a good job with it. The point is, he was saying it was his greatest achievement. Why? Because when he lost, that's when his whole mentality changed. He hunkered down. Pat Riley, D-Wade, everybody, they got on him. He had to ultimately embrace who he is, but also embrace the fact that you got to step up and embrace the challenge and take what is rightfully yours. If he were playing alongside Kobe Bryant, he'd have never had to go through that for that long period of time, because Kobe would have been in his behind from day one, demanding that greatness shined. It would have shined considerably earlier, and we might be actually having valid comparisons to MJ.
Well argued. But you're wrong.
I'm not.
You are. Now, for the sake of argument here, what does LeBron really mean when he tweets that out? Well, Kobe and LeBron were both in some area that you can still call their primes. You could say it was a little post-Kobe's prime and a little pre-LeBron prime when they were both two of the best players in the game. Let's say LeBron had been on the Lakers then. Phil Jackson is still a coach in the league. Whether or not in that year he's coaching the Lakers, let's say Phil Jackson's their coach. That's a realistic scenario where they could have played together and under those circumstances. That was also a league before the three-point revolution, really. Before D'Antoni's system kind of seeped into all coaching systems and totally changed the game, the Warriors dynasty, et cetera. Now, you mean to tell me LeBron benefits more from that pairing than Kobe? Think about this for a second. Phil Jackson coaching Kobe and LeBron. You know what he has there? He has a slightly toned down Michael Jordan and a super duper Scottie Pippen. They would have never lost.
Kobe Bryant isn't considered the best in the best ever because obviously MJ and him played the same position, and we're going to think MJ first. And I get that. But it's not like you look at LeBron James because LeBron James is playing the same position and has the same responsibilities as Kobe. We look at LeBron James as the greatest small forward who ever lived, the physicality that he brings to the game, him being 6'9", 260, chiseled brick house, can handle the ball, a magic kind of player in terms of pass first, all of this other stuff, even though he has an obligation to score. People look at him differently. One of the biggest reasons that LeBron James is compared to Michael Jordan is because LeBron James came into the NBA giving everybody indications he was coming for Jordan.
Brother.
So the reason why those are the reasons why those comparisons. Because if you look at Kobe's game, his game mirrored MJ more than LeBron's ever did. It's just that LeBron announced to the world he was coming for MJ, and that's why everybody looked for those comparisons.
If you think of what MJ and Pippen did with Phil Jackson, which is go 6 for 6. Now take just a little bit of air out of MJ, just a little bit. Stop, plug it up, right? And do this to Pippen. Turn him into super Pippen.
Again,
you think they're losing?
You're looking at it wrong. You know why you're looking at it wrong? Because neither Kobe nor LeBron played defense better than MJ and Pippen. Neither of them.
They would be slightly lesser defensively and even better offensively. And on the whole, a LeBron-Kobe pairing in their primes would have been even better than MJ and Pippen.
Well, again, you're wrong and you're misinformed. Why? Because you're not bringing into consideration the game that they played compared to the game that MJ and Pippen had to play. Talk about the culture, how far more physical it was back in the day. Let's say, what would MJ...
Making it even easier for Kobe and LeBron.
What would MJ and Pippen have done in this era in terms of how soft it is?
Killed it. But so Kobe...
And again, their defense is elite.
Here's the
difference.
Their
defense is elite.
Here's the difference.
Pippen
is not on anyone's list of top 10 players who ever lived.
When the Lakers lost the championship, beat the Lakers for the championship. What happened in that series?
Who beat the for
the Bulls beat the Lakers in the championship, the first finals. You remember how Pippen was picking Magic? Well, forget all that. Pippen picked up Magic. And so if you guarded Magic, who's usually 6'9" and looking over defenders,
you think LeBron wouldn't have guarded Magic?
No. What I'm saying to you is that, but LeBron has never been a defender. Pippen is. You do know that.
Pippen is
It's not even close.
Pippen is a much more consistent defender. I'll say this.
Not only that, he's somebody that embraces playing defense more.
No doubt. I wouldn't compare LeBron over the course of a season to Pippen as a defensive player. I will say this, in terms of versatility as a defender, LeBron is more like Dennis Rodman. LeBron, at his best defensively, could legitimately, capably guard all 5 positions.
That's not.
LeBron at his best is an all-time great
Once
defender.
again, that's why you shouldn't be talking basketball, because you're bringing up what he could do. I'm bringing up what he has done. There's been plenty of times. I will never question the ability of LeBron James. There's nothing he can't do.
Let me ask you.
He has shown a willingness religiously throughout the years not to accept elite defensive assignments, participating in the postseason, and they were.
Yeah, but
that's it.
That could actually be a benefit.
Exactly. First time in 9 years.
It may be. But when last seen, you have to go, the real LeBron hasn't been seen since the playoffs of the previous season.
Let me ask you this question. Aren't you one of those guys that, for the most part, believes that injury should not take away the mantle? In other words, if you injured and you weren't playing, then let's see what you have when you come back.
It depends. It's a unique circumstance.
What's the unique?
We've never seen a guy this deep into his career still among the best players in the game, ever. LeBron. So if he hasn't been his best self in over a year now.
But the last time we saw this brother, in the playoffs, we know what he did. And the last time we saw him during the regular season, when he was playing, the Lakers were the 4th seed in the West. And then he goes down and they collapse.
So did Lonzo go down.
Lonzo, but really?
Yes.
In this conversation, we're going to bring up Lonzo. Really?
Lonzo had a tremendously positive effect on that team.
Listen, he had a positive effect, but he wasn't the difference maker. He was a contributor. We get it. Okay. I understand. Come on, man. How are we going to – I'm sitting there. You got me. I'm mad at you now. You got me sitting here defending LeBron James like this. How can we sit up here and strip him of his supremacy because he got injured?
Let's back up for a second. I want to table Antetokounmpo because that's a legit argument. I want to focus on Kawhi.
Okay.
Kawhi Leonard, I thought, when last healthy, if you can't strip a guy when he's injured, before Kawhi got hurt in San Antonio, there were plenty of people, and I was one of them, who thought he was the second best player in the world, not KD. Kawhi, because Kawhi's defense was on its own level, and then suddenly his offense, while not quite as good as LeBron or KD's, was on their level. He was 3rd out of 3 if you want to compare him, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, Kawhi has MVP-level offense? To go with that defense, a proven champion. So when he got back from injury, let's see how he played. Regular season, he was an elite player. Playoffs, he was a monster.
LeBron is 34, going 35 years old, if I remember correctly, or whatever. He comes back. Okay, we understand that the Lakers had their struggles or whatever. I'm talking about 8 straight trips to the final, the way that he balled, how he made others better around him. Numbers didn't dip. And oh, by the way, the old man with LeBron James, who got more hair issues than me, by the way. I just want to state that for the record, okay? He has more hair issues than me. I'm 50. All right, you know, I got an excuse.
Okay.
I don't know about him.
Now
but let me
you're
tell you
poking fun at LeBron.
Of course. Okay, yes, I am. Oh, far be it for me to do that. It's all love, LBJ. It's all love. Here's the deal. Let's look at this. The last few games, Max, since February. Let me just throw this out you. 33, 31, 27, 27, 31, 30, 36, 29, 33, 25, 29, 23,
You agree
27.
that scoring is not the only important thing,
I totally
right?
agree with that.
Oh,
What
he
I'm
has
saying to you is
rebounds.
this. All I'm saying is we did not look at LeBron James and see such a precipitous drop-off. What I'm saying is, can we not trust this brother that he's in elite physical condition?
No, this is what I mean about disrespectful. I'll believe it when I see it. LeBron James hasn't been the best version of himself, which he saves for the playoffs, since the playoffs over a year ago.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard,
he don't deserve that.
Just destroyed the Greek freak and everyone else in his way.
From you?
No.
Oh, I forgot who I'm listening to. Mr. Cliff with Tom Brady. My bad. You don't respect the greatness that people record, Max.
Who's the best quarterback in football right now?
Patrick Mahomes.
There you go.
You guys are bringing it right now. We're going to revisit this later in the show, okay?
Let's do it. I mean, this is blasphemy, man.
But Kawhi's averaging almost 30 points. He's doing it efficiently. By the way, also with rebounds and assists, 7 boards, 5 assists, but also 2 steals and a block on average per game, because when LeBron decides to play defense and blah, 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 and he's a great defensive player. I think LeBron's an all-time great defensive player when he chooses to play defense. He ain't Kawhi Leonard on defense. And then, Stephen A., there's this. Why is it really that guys like you and me, other than over the course of their career, LeBron has more value than Jordan because he's played much longer at a high level. But at their peak, Jordan was better than LeBron. Not only do the numbers say that, but Stephen A. Smith, the real reason is, if they're on kind of equalish teams and the money's on the line and it's Game 7, even though Jordan didn't go Game 7, and they played 100 times, you and me don't believe LeBron would get MJ even one time with the money on the line. MJ had
But Kawhi Leonard is no MJ.
And MJ had that thing in him. I'm not claiming Kawhi is MJ. Doc Rivers is going overboard because that's his guy. But Kawhi doesn't care. Like, you've made the point before, LeBron doesn't like it on the free throw line at the end of games. LeBron's considering things like, it's a lot to live up to.
Kawhi has money from the free throw line now.
Kawhi Leonard doesn't have a pulse. It doesn't change. It's unbelievable. And so if it's close and they've played head-to-head one time in a high-profile game and Kawhi's team won, by the way, doing all this without Paul George. You bring up the fact 5-1, 5-2. They lost to Utah. They lost to Phoenix. The Lakers only have the one loss to the Clippers. LeBron has had the services of Anthony Davis the entire season.
But you're looking at
who's also an MVP caliber
You're
player.
looking at everything, and I get that. And I also have to take into account Paul George ultimately coming back, because we keep forgetting Paul George is a star, and Paul George is a monster himself, and he's going to elevate the Clippers. But I would like to add this. I'm telling you right now, the way LeBron is looking right now and the way he's talking, I like it because I see a man that's saying, all right, y'all, I'm back. And by the way, I'm healthy. Let me put a stop to all of this, which is what I wanted him to do opening night. He didn't do it, but he's doing it now. I believe it will continue. I believe that the Lakers are going to win the chip. That's what I believe.
Long as when Kawhi checks in, we don't see from LeBron. Oh,
right.
Man.
That's right.
And that was before Kawhi knew what he was doing.
Right. It better not happen. Because when it comes to the Lakers and Clippers, I know what the Clippers are, and I know they're a better team collectively. They're a better team.
Max, you think LeBron's been the most impressive Laker, right?
You should be able to overcome LeBron and AD. That's why I got my eyes on this. This is what it's going to come down to.
LeBron has played out of his mind great. The fact that he's in year 17 doing this
He's phenomenal.
Is so far beyond anything we've ever seen from an athlete this advanced in their career, in any sport, because no one in their 17th year ever came close to this in basketball. No one. It's amazing. AD has played, you could make an argument he's the MVP. Danny Green has been great. I love me some Danny Green. Dwight Howard is the one that surprised me the most and impressed me the most based on where we perceived he was in his career versus how he has played.
He shot perfect in 2 games this season. 8 for 8 from the field in one game they won, 7 of 7 from the field in another. Other than that, he didn't do much offensively. Every other game, he's been limited to 3 shots or less.
His anticipated NBA seasons in recent memory. So let's take a look at some of the favorites entering the season according to Caesars Sportsbook. Giannis is favored to win MVP. The Bucks and Lakers are expected to win their conferences, with the Lakers favored to bring home the NBA crown. On that note, we bring in former NBA player Matt Barnes. So good to have you with us.
Good to be back.
See you, bro.
Guys, I got a bunch of topics I want to get through here. I'll start with you, Stephen A. NBA MVP. Are you taking LeBron or the field?
I'm rolling with LeBron James. I think the fact that he hasn't played since April, after going to 8 straight NBA finals, I think the level of hunger that he's going to have with him is going to be greater than at any time in his career since the first title when they beat Oklahoma City. I think his level of hunger is palpable to that at this particular moment in time. To have a guy like Anthony Davis
Maybe Steph was the best duo trio at one point. Who do you think's the best duo? Would you take LeBron, AD, or the field?
The field, this is an easy one. As great as LeBron and AD will be, LeBron has to pick and choose spots now throughout the season. Kawhi is the reigning and defending Finals MVP. This year, he will be the first player ever to win the Finals MVP for 3 separate teams, his third team. The history of the league has been the most unstoppable forces are 2 attack dog two-way wings who can score and defend at an elite level. Paul George, before he got hurt, was a top 5 MVP candidate last year. When all was said and done and the smoke settled, when the smoke cleared, we saw that the actual MVP, when you take the entirety of the season and postseason, was Kawhi. They're both on the same team, on a real team that played together as a team with a great coach. That's the best duo in the NBA.
I disagree. I emphatically disagree. It's LeBron and AD all the way. Let me be very, very clear. I don't think Kawhi Leonard's better than either one of them. And I love Kawhi. And I think Kawhi's a top 5 talent in the league. He's a superstar. I saw what he did. I'm going to say it again. If Kevin Durant were healthy, Toronto's done in 5.
No question.
They've done in 5.
Agreed.
Okay? So we can talk about Kawhi Leonard all we want to. And let me tell you,
They got a better squad.
Time. I apologize. Not only am I saying they would have lost with Kevin Durant, if Kevin Durant wasn't healthy and was out the whole series, but Clay were healthy, they still would have beat Toronto, probably in 6 games.
I disagree.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. And I'm telling you something right now. This is the thing that I keep bringing up, Matt. LeBron's 6'9", 260, dog. Anthony Davis, 6'11". And by the way, not just points, rebounds, but block shots and can defend 4 different positions. You talk about Paul George, who is a star. You talk about Kawhi Leonard. I got news for you. Tell me who guarding them. Because these are not just guards or something like that. No. This is LeBron. It's 260.
Kawhi Leonard's guarding.
Kawhi Leonard guarding who? Let me ask you
Kawhi Leonard, when he was a puppy and LeBron was in his prime, won the Finals MVP for guarding LeBron.
And go look at those numbers. I'm telling you right now, because remember, D-Wade wasn't 100%.
Numbers are still great.
The numbers were still great. Nobody stopping LeBron.
What he was then, Kawhi's better.
Nobody's stopping LeBron, and nobody's stopping Anthony Davis. The best duo in the NBA. Not only is it those two, by a damn mile. It ain't even nothing to talk about to me.
I wouldn't say mile. I love the Clippers team.
Half mile, damn it.
Okay.
All right.
I love the Clippers team over the Lakers. When I say team, duo's got to be AD and LeBron. And I really think people sleep on how good AD is because of where the market he was in, and then he got hurt. And then he was, time management once he wanted to be traded. AD is a generational talent, someone that can do it all. I really think a big key for them this season is LeBron trusting in him and trusting in his teammates for those guys to get through the dog days of the league so he can stay fresh. And that's another reason why I don't know if LeBron will win.